Welcome back, dear viewers, and our special guest for this evening is Mr. Ya'rub Burhama, the founder of Alwan Ya'rub. Mr. Ya'rub, good evening. It's really a pleasure to have you with us on Hala Kuwait.
Good evening to you, and it's always a pleasure to be here in Kuwait TV.
It's really a pleasure. So tell us first about inspiration. We were talking before we went on air about inspiration and also history and storytelling also.
Yes.
So what is inspiration to you, and how does that affect the individual and society? Like sometimes people might be shy of getting inspired, but inspiration is really important.
Yes, that's very interesting. The shy part is very interesting also. But the inspiration is the main trigger, is the main element that makes anybody go from where they are to where they are inspired to go. So
Exactly.
I think today, if there was no inspiration, there would be no development in societies, in general.
Exactly.
What we were talking about before we were on air, we were talking about movies, and
Exactly.
this is a very rich source of inspiration right
Exactly.
now, in nowadays. But if you go back to the older days, and the days where the beginning of manhood and the societies, or the most important part was also storytelling.
Exactly.
So they always have stories about their heroes.
Exactly.
Why do they say that? So they can they can inspire their own people and youngsters, and actually give them a way, a place to advance.
Exactly.
That's where inspiration is important, and I think to have this, let's say, generated in societies, it's a very important subject, and it's very important sector in society to have inspirational products, inspirational people, inspirational talks, and even environments. To me, inspiration is the most important part that you can actually give to another person.
Exactly. And we will talk about the Ya'rub impact, as I would call it,
Yes.
later, about your students. But
Yes.
first, we would like to know about the positive influence or impact, and how does it contribute to the development of the society or the world, the positive influence.
Yes. So if I would like to talk about that, in my childhood, to me, the inspiration and the positive impact was there in different kinds of, let's say, sources, from different kinds of sources, where on TV, my inspiration used to be Steven Spielberg work, Walt Disney work. In Kuwait, it was العم غنام الديغان, Badr Borisli, and let's say this would be this is their music, but we saw it with المرحوم عبد الحسين عبد الرضا and the group that was there.
Exactly.
These are the people that inspired me before.
Exactly.
I was also inspired by فرقة التلفزيون, the
Legendary.
KTV.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's say, what was it called? National Group, I think it's called.
Exactly.
In English. So these are the inspiring parts, and the positive impact. The positive impact also was very important by our teachers in school,
yeah.
by our trainers. I used to go to clubs, different clubs, and I had trainers. So the people that actually made a positive impact on me at that time were, you never forget them. Huh?
Exactly.
You always remember that, and it's beautiful. Also the positive impact that I've gotten as a youngster was from my parents. Both of them had their different impact on me, and they made the person that I am today.
Exactly.
on my mother's side, it was more the cultural part, where reading and always looking for the reason, using my brain.
Exactly.
That's where my mother comes in. And the father was actually more on my side now also, is in the imagination. He always had the imagination, and he always had the he inspired me with enjoying yourself, let's say, to the max. How can you enjoy yourself today, and what kind of a day can you make or construct to reach the maximum joy?
That's
so
great.
This is two positive impacts in my life. When I became older, and of course came here to Kuwait TV, I had also a positive impact by Mr. Ali Reyes, and he was the main inspirational, let's say, flame here, and he taught many of us directors and producers today. This was in the early 90s, when he was the manager of the إدارة المنوعات, is it called the variety sector department in Kuwait TV. So I think the positive impact is very important. And like I told you, now I've taken, now I'm 49 years old, and I'm taking you back to each person, and I can go on and on to each person and how much I got a positive impact from them, because that's what makes the boost up from where you are to one
what
step
you want to be.
to one step forward.
Exactly.
Those people that you get you're blessed to get to know.
Exactly. You took us it's like fast time traveling to the legendary names you just mentioned on Kuwait TV, and how they inspired you, especially your parents, and especially the imagination part from your father, and the creative thinking part from your mother, which is really amazing. Now I would like to know more about the start of your career, especially how you started your career, and tell us more about yourself from the start of your career.
You know, I decided to be a director when I was around 12 years old.
That's great.
I decided to be a director, At the time, the main productions that were the biggest in the world at the time was the Spielberg productions, which is like E.T. and
it was well known during the 80s and the 90s.
It was the main, it was the biggest thing that happened, like E.T. There was Indiana Jones with the Lucas films and George Lucas, and then there was also on the music side, there was the Michael Jackson productions, which just made the cultural boom.
Huge change, definitely.
Huge change. In Kuwait, there was the golden age that we can call first and the best actors and musicians. The musicians were, the new ones were Abdullah Rashid and Nabil Ishail and Nawal. The actors were Marhum Abdul Hussein Abdul Rida, Hayat Al-Fahd. The music was led by names like Ghannam Al-Degan, like Rashid Al-Khadr. These people were, I think, the beautiful, twinkle lights for everybody that was growing in that time.
They're still inspiring us also.
They still inspire, right? Throughout their generation. That's the beautiful part about
even
the
ones who passed away. They're still inspiring us.
SubhanAllah. And it's just something beautiful, and I think that's the blessing, and that's what makes everybody just the people makes me look forward to living tomorrow, or look forward to actually giving the information and the knowledge that I know today for the students, is the positive impact that can inspire people and can take them up a step to where they want to be. Because if even that actually, like you know, increases the self-confidence. It increases the happiness, the level of happiness and positivity in the person.
Exactly.
So it's all contagious. It's all and it's all escalating. So if you actually get inspired by somebody, you will go forward and become the person you want to be by his inspiration, right?
Exactly.
And when that happens, you would increase the positive energy inside of you and the happiness, right?
Exactly.
And when that happens, imagine that multiplied by many people in this society, you'd get a full developed and healthy society. I mean, that's the beauty of it.
Exactly. And also we're going to mention your impact and effect on your students later, but we would like to know first, since you said influence, and you made us also excited and curious to know more about your teachers and the people who inspired you.
Yes.
Especially would like to know if you give us example of a story or a high value you learned from them.
يعني أستاذ علي الرئيس, let me tell you one of the stories that once he told me that this is the first time, he said, because I was an assistant director, of course, as you come in, you're an assistant, until you work your way and you make enough impact to become a director.
Exactly.
At the time, I don't know what's now, what's the issue, but that's where I was in the 90s.
Yeah.
So this is the first time he told me. There was كان يوم الخميس, I think, أو يوم الأربعاء. يوم الخميس, the Thursdays at the time was holiday.
Exactly.
So, or the weekend starts on Thursdays and Fridays. So he told me on Wednesday that باكر كان برنامج اسمه ليلة خميس. The program was called ليلة خميس.
It's well known back then.
Hey, he told me that مبروك, you will be a director with me tomorrow in ليلة خميس. So I was excited. I was like, ليلة خميس comes in, goes on at 10 p.m. Huh? At the time I was 22, 23 years old. Huh? So I went home. I was happy. أنا توقعت. I thought it was going to be, we'll be there at 7, صح? 7 p.m. 8 p.m. to actually prepare for
2 hours before the program.
قاسم عبد القادر, the المعد, the writer, the producer of the show, he called me around 10:30, something like that, a.m.
A.m.
And he said, "You're still sleeping?"
Oh, it's very surprising.
He said, "Your boss, and the main director has been here from 9:30, and you're still sleeping?" I didn't know. And that was the first time that happened. And I went to here. I came to KTV, and they were working. So they actually work, and I saw that happening. He works for that only program, he worked around 12 hours.
Whoa.
Just to prepare for it.
Such a great effort.
At the time, because it was on air, and we go into special links with other Arabic countries like Egypt and things like that, but this is through satellite, of course. It's not through no internet or so it was through satellite. And then we'd go take a microwave here in one of the areas in Kuwait, whatever is happening on Thursday night. So if there is a hafla or there's an event or whatever, something like that,
there's coverage about it.
There would be coverage. So we were on air, and we did 2 other kinds of productions, let's say, and we were on, internationally and nationally, and it was a big production. So that, to me, seeing him at the time, I think he was in his 40s, I think, late 30s, early 40s. I got to learn that to actually make a really well-known program or a really well-known product or service for the people, you have to work hard. Ali Reyes at the time had his name, and he used to bring in people with well-known people on the show. So but that didn't stop him from actually working really hard to make every show more creative than the other. And that I caught from him.
Every episode is different.
Every episode.
Yeah.
Every episode is very different than the other. So that's what we did for the next year maybe. That we actually go there at 9:30 and work until 10, the time of the program, the time of the episode, and leave at around 12 a.m.
Exactly. So you give us a really depth look about your career, especially your inspiration first, and who inspired you, and the high values of the people who inspired you, and how you interacted and how you applied it in your career. But we would like to know a part of your career, Mr. Arab, exactly in 2017. What exactly happened in 2017? Let's call it the start of the resurrection of the career of Yarab Barhama, the recreation, the start of recreation, the rebirth.
The rebirth, yeah, I call it the rebirth. Yeah. That's definitely the rebirth, because when I started in 92, I was a director here, and I tried to learn how to produce different kinds of shows. And I did go into the variety shows, and I went into the political shows and the docu-series. In addition to that, my journey continued to the songs and the music videos. It continued also to the advertisements, because I opened my own company and left Kuwait TV, and I did documentaries in addition to Operate Sabah al-Watan. Then I started, my career shifted here, because I've done many different facades, let's say, of the media.
Exactly. It was all well done and amazing.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. That's tawfiq, that's from from our gracious God. And then what happened is, let's say the early 2000s, people didn't really order or want me as a director. They wanted me as a to establish programs, and there was a well-known program in 2006, 2007 called Taw al-Layl, and they chose me to actually establish it, and it took me 7 months to establish it, and that was the first time I trained people and designed the show before directing it.
From the scratch.
From the scratch. So there was nothing there. They just gave me they just needed a program that is a night show that starts at 8:30 and ends at whatever, 10:30 or whatever, or 10 to 11, I forgot. Then I had to actually research the whole media, whatever was there on the media scene, and then come up with the format of Taw al-Layl and train the people, and so that was the first time. Then it continued to happen. There was another program called Diwan in another Mahatta, another TV station, and things like that. And then I think with the 2009 or 2000, I went and kind of there was a new interest.
Exactly. You changed your direction.
I didn't boldly change my direction. I was still the director, producer. I was still doing my things, but I can't say.
You got attracted to something
I can't
new.
say that my passion was the same towards directing and producing as it was before. And the 2009-2010, I actually joined Shamlan al-Bahar and a group of my colleagues also, Rana al-Khalid, Shamlan al-Bahar, Abdul Aziz al-Waghani. I joined them to establish a program to inspire youth, and it's called the Proteges program. And it was a program designed to inspire and increase the awareness of youth. And I discovered Ya'rub that was actually in love with training and in love with being and inspiring the youth. And it was very rewarding, the program, and we stayed in it for 10 years, 9 years, let's say, until 2019. So that program was like the other half.
Exactly.
Imagine, so my life now is like two halves. One was training
Directing.
people in the media industry and things like that, and establishing programs, and went to cinema, Khan Refugee and things like that, and paved the way there also.
Exactly.
And I did that in the summer, which was like 3 months almost in the summer, the Proteges program for the youth. And I think what happened was that I was out of focus, kind of.
You couldn't
Now,
match between the two.
I'm really kind of really into the training of the youth, and not much into directing what I like to direct before. Now I'm in love with, I still am in love with the new ideas, with something that hasn't been done before. And I love the establishment part, and I get really bored if I do it again, the same project again. I'm more into paving the way or doing something that hasn't been done before to introduce it to the public. But the directing part got a little redundant, kind of, not much. And I think that's the reason where by 2016, I was kind of, I felt stuck. And end of 16, 17, I felt stuck, and I felt like there was a lot of, I had a lot of employees that were in my company, but because I'm a trainer more than I am a boss.
A boss, yeah.
Or a manager, I managed to train them, and they all went out and made their own production companies. They made, I trained around many people, but they went out in collaboration with each other, and formed maybe 12 production companies.
That's
and
great.
They all came in from this, step one.
Really
into
amazing.
Mine. And it's amazing, for a trainer. It's not really nice,
but needs an effort
for a company that is called the production company. So here, where I kind of shifted, which is 2017, and I said, maybe the idea will be for me to actually go into that now and make a career out of that as a major thing. Now I still will direct, and I did direct a couple of shows last February. I directed a really big show in Riyadh, in Diriyah, for their National Day. And like I told you, the interesting part was that it was totally in the desert. It was a big project, and they wanted somebody to actually deliver something that hasn't been done before. And that's where I get my adrenaline rush, let's say. But let's make my step now, let's go step forward into training people. And how do I train people? I think I went back exactly to how I was trained by Ali Reis.
Exactly.
And Ali trained me on location. He trained me here, as we were producing a real project, right? We were doing programs like Khamis and Studio 500 and
real deal, as they say.
But I was being trained as I was producing at the same time.
Exactly.
And I think that was the best way to do it. I understood it, especially by me being, I'm dyslexic, so I'm not really good in reading too much. I'm not good either because I do have little ADD also. Yeah. So I'm not really good in learning by just lecturing.
Exactly.
I am really good in learning while working on a real project.
Exactly.
And in 2017, I decided that, let me form the first ever training program that trains people while they're doing a real project.
Exactly.
And that's where my idea came in. And I did a full curriculum, not knowing who I will
Train.
do it with,
Yeah.
or when I'm going to do it, but this is what happened. And by the time I was ready, I went to a couple of companies and different people to ask them to maybe cooperate
Exactly.
on that and collaborate on it. And
It really worked well.
I didn't get anybody at the time.
Yeah.
And Corona happened. By the end of Corona, I got a call from Zahra al-Dahdari, and she said that she works for Riham al-Ayar and Sheikh Ahoud Salim al-Ali, and they actually want to form a new kind of training program.
Exactly.
And I said, I have the curriculum.
Yeah, that's
I said, I have the
yeah,
curriculum.
exactly. You have the
Yeah,
curriculum.
she said, no,
already,
but
yeah.
this is different. I said, I have the curriculum.
Yeah.
عرفت?
You prepared
And,
everything.
I already
like
have
you
it.
knew it will happen.
And she said, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know it
But
would
you were
happen that
ready.
way. I was ready.
Yeah.
And when she called me, and it was at the time, she called me at the time exactly, it was still Corona, the beginning. The Corona times, I think it was at the end of, November 2021.
Yeah.
And and we just, I said, I'm ready.
Yeah, that's great. Now it leads us to, let's say, the present days.
Yes.
And I've been there through your classes and your work. You prepared a great festival this past March.
Yes.
And I worked with your students and alumni. To be honest, I was seeing Yarub, and all of them had the Yarub impact, as
Yeah.
I mentioned at the start.
Yes.
And they were waiting for you, and they were willing to make you proud of them.
Yeah.
And it was all through Alwan Yarub. So tell us more about Alwan Yarub and its content, and also what it delivers to its students and the coursework and how to join it.
So when Alwan Yarub happened, and it came out of the studio in Ardiya, with the first students, it was in June. 45 students applied, and it came out. I brought in a team of mentors, each in his sector. So it was there was each specialty had their own technical mentor. So in decor, costumes, music, cinematography,
Fantastic.
all of that had their own. We had those at the team, and I was there, like I said earlier, to inspire and to actually look at each person, each of the 45 people. I enjoyed looking at them and seeing them and how they are interacting.
Exactly.
And through that, I saw what they needed. And this is what I do. So during this production, as they produce a real project, from the idea until the end product that is actually public, like you saw in, we did it once in publicly in one of the venues,
Carnivals,
and then there was another venue that we did the same project again because it was so successful in the first one.
Exactly. They were wanting to show you their new things.
Yes.
The things they want to do.
Yes.
Like when I was there, they were showing you the costumes. They were showing you the people who would like to participate. They were really enthusiastic. And
And that's the part.
Exactly.
Because they owned the project. They were being enthusiastic. It was a lot of work. But because this is the way they are getting trained, they're getting trained while they're producing a real project, because it's their project, it's not mine.
Exactly.
They felt that they own it, and because they own it, they gave their all.
Exactly.
In addition to that, I think it's the best thing about training people and mentoring or mentorship is the relation that you
Great. And the bond
form
also,
and
yeah.
the bond that you form with the students. You become a big brother to some, and maybe a father to others.
Exactly.
Maybe you become a friend to some, and you can see the appreciation. And the most beautiful part about it now is that those 45 became now 65 because Alwan Ya'rub 2 was in January of this year. And around 45% of them actually got jobs in the media.
That's
so
great.
They in إعلانات, in advertisements, in مسلسلات, in مسرح, in music.
Exactly.
So that makes me proud also.
Exactly.
I think that's the most beautiful part of the whole thing is that when you finish, you feel that there are now a big number of people that are equipped
Exactly.
to work and develop.
The harvest.
I wish in this program would be for a bigger, more students. I wish, and I do have the yearn in me to make it more accessible for others. I had my hunch before that this is there is no age for somebody to actually produce something, and that's what happened with Alwan Ya'rub. We had people that were 15 years old, 16 years old, and we had people that are 61 years old.
Oh, that's really great, and we're really happy of your achievements. It was really a great effort, and thank you so much, sir, for being this evening with us on Hello Kuwait to explore with us and giving this amazing journey of yours, and also the results of your amazing program, Alwan Ya'rub. But before we end this interview, this amazing and inspiring interview, we would like to know more about the future plans of Alwan Ya'rub, please.
Alwan Ya'rub 3, of course.
Yeah.
Alwan Ya'rub 3 is going to happen, and we're just yet to see when it's going to happen. I think by next week we'll have our master plan meeting, and it will incur when will be the best date for that to happen. And inshallah we'll go to also a younger age. I'm thinking that my graduates would do something like Alwan Ya'rub Juniors.
Oh, that's great.
And they could do their own training program for the younger ones. And yet there is many ideas to come.
Well, thank you so much again, Mr. Ya'rub, for being this evening with us on Hello Kuwait. You're such an inspiring character.
Thank you.
Thank you for inspiring me also, and your students and the other people who are following your great career. And we wish you the best of luck with your future. And please keep inspiring us.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure.
And I'm here for any kind of service that anybody would like.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dear viewers, we just had with us Mr. Ya'rub Burhama, the founder of Alwan Ya'rub. And with that, we have reached the end of tonight's episode. I really hope you liked our content and our subject for this evening. Please stay safe and enjoy your evening, and have a lovely night.